Hi. I'm not going to mess this up. Okay, you guys. So tonight is just going to be a very candid Zoom. So many people have been inboxing me. How on earth do we do all the things? How do we get rid of the mom guilt? How do we be a mom most days? I don't know. Or dad, or single parent, or married parent, or how can we have it all? And so tonight is just going to be about how I juggle life, school, homeschool. But I'll back up a little bit. 3 years ago, well, okay, so we've been in the business 8 years this month, 8 years. And about 3 years ago, I was at the gym and this lady came and said, "Hey, who cuts your hair?" Well, I did at the time, you guys. So I was like, me, but I don't take any new clients. And she said, "Can you please cut my hair?" I was like, well, I could, but I don't want to. Like, I truly don't want new clients. And she said, can I just have your number? And in 4 months, when my stylist retires, can I call you? And I'm a yellow. Any other yellows? So what do we say? Yeah, sure. Of course. Right. And so 4 months later, she called me and she said, "Hey, I just want a haircut. That's all I need. I don't need it colored, please." And I was like, fine, I'm yellow, of course, so I'll buckle. So I started cutting her hair, and the very first day that I will never forget this day, you guys. She sat in my chair and we started talking about life, salon talk. How, she said, what do you do for work? How many kids do you have? Do you have dogs, cats, like all the things, salon talk. And I got talking to her about how, we love to travel, but with school, we couldn't have that option. And, we were getting more just kids can only miss certain days. And then, you want to go on a 4-day vacation and you want to do that 3 times a month. And so then schools don't like that. And so all of the things. And I just thought, you know what? I'm a little rebel. Any other rebels around here? Like, you tell me I can't, I have to do something, and sis, I'm doing the opposite. Like, and I'm going to take pictures. Okay. So, and I'll do it in silence and now let success make all my noise. That's just me. Okay. So I didn't like, and you guys, for me too, my kids are now, almost 13. She'll be 13 this month, and 9. And I started telling her about how my daughter was struggling in school. And she was lower. She was behind. And my son was advanced. And clearly, because my daughter's older and my son's younger, so we know what the kids do. They teach all the young ones. And so I just said, my daughter is very artistic. She's very much, somebody is unmuted. Okay. So she just said, I said, what do I do? How do I do all the things? And I said, it's frustrating to me because for me, and you guys, again, this is just my opinion. Please let me make sure that I'm not making any school claims. I am not telling you what to do, and I am not influencing you in any way to lean one side or the other. I'm simply giving you what's happened in my life. And at some point, I hope that you can relate to it. So speaking of, my daughter just came in to go get her drawing stuff because she loves drawing. So, but the schools teach everybody the same way. And I knew that my daughter was special. And I knew that I didn't have what it takes to teach her the things in the way that I can't even write in English, you guys. Like, my handwriting is sloppy. And I think Sonia, your microphone keeps coming unmuted, sis. And so I simply said, my daughter, she's just a different, she learns differently. And she was the one in school where she couldn't move her chair because she would doodle on her page. And so she was the only one in the classroom that couldn't doodle on her chair. But that's how she thinks. That's how she's paying attention. And my son, it was so smart. They were saying basically stop letting him read because he's well too advanced. And so, you have one kid here and one kid here, and you don't know what to do. And I had you guys, I barely passed high school. Okay. I don't have a college degree. I would not consider myself book smart. I would consider myself street smart. Okay. And I can't teach my kids. I never wanted to homeschool a day in my life. I never wanted to be principal. I never wanted to be teacher. Can I get an amen? Nobody signed up for this unless you officially signed up for this and you were meant to be a teacher. Then we need more souls like you, because those of us that can't, we just don't. And but I knew there was something different. I just felt like there was a big shift making. And she said, 10 years ago, I started this whole homeschool program for my 7 kids, 10 years ago, because all 7 of them learn differently. She's like, and the schools teach you the same thing, no matter how you learn, which is really hard on most of the kids. And I was like, oh yeah, but sister, I don't even know my multiplication tables. How on earth do you think I'm going to teach my kids? Like, I am not equipped for this. Anybody else feel like that? Like, August is coming, school is coming. You're like, I ain't ready. Who picked this? Like, this is not for me, sister. And then some of you guys are like, I'm so excited. I'm so smart and I'm creative and I'm Pinterest mom. I am cheering for you, sister, because I am not. Okay. So long story short, we had some conversations and I told her we wanted to, we want our kids to study abroad. We just want to be able to, work. We work so hard for the freedom, but why aren't we keeping the freedom? And she said, why don't you try it on? And I was like, well, I could, but I don't want to be a teacher. I don't want to come up with curriculum. I do not want to grade papers and I do not want to put them in detention because I do that enough as a mom. Okay. And she said, and so then I thought to myself, what are people going to think of me? What is how am I going to show up as a mom? I run a business and how can I do all of the things and not feel maxed out and tapped out, which most of us, if we're going to be real honest on this Zoom right now, we all feel that way, right? Like, and if you don't, sister, I don't know what you're drinking, but I need 2 cups of it. So I remember she was saying, like, a lot of kids who do sports and travel sports, they use this program. And I was like, okay, like, whatever. My kids, like, they do karate, gymnastics, like, we don't travel for sports. And she just said, it's a good option for kids to learn. And I was like, okay. She left my chair. I texted my husband and I said, babe, how do you feel about homeschool with an online entrepreneur program? And he said, let's do it. And I was like, what? Like, you want to research? He's the green, I'm the yellow. So he is like, I will research everything. And he literally texted me back and he said, let's do it. And I remember sitting in my bed bawling. And I just felt like this was such an untouched territory that I wasn't familiar with and I was not equipped for. But I knew that everything happens for a reason. And sometimes we don't know that reason. Sometimes right now where most of us are stressed out and in a year, you're going to be like, this is the best dang thing I've ever done. Okay. And whether you're taking your kids to school or homeschool, or they're learning virtually 1 day or 2 days a week, everyone is so different right now that with what's going on. And I said, well, what is this going to cost me? And she said, it's actually free. They pay you. So, and I was like, okay, like, come on, talk to me more. Right. And every state has your own homeschool program, and obviously based on where you're at, you're going to have to find out and do some research of, what's required and what curriculum you can use. And, or if you've already decided to put your kids into school, there's no judgment here, you guys. So please don't ever think that. Like, my kids were in public school. I swore I would never homeschool. Now we homeschool and they may go back to school one day. That's not about it. It's about the timing. And right now our hands are only equipped for so much that we can handle. And so how do we play the cards that we were dealt, basically? So, I started, taking the next summer, I decided that we were going to do this program, online entrepreneur program, where the curriculum's online, and it's different than what we did this year, most of us, where we took school home. That's not what homeschool is. And that's not what, in my opinion, should be school at home. You are not a teacher. And if you are, then sure, then bring your school home. But most of us are just moms barely trying to survive. And I just feel like I feel so much of your guys's like stress and what you're going through. So I'm going to hold it together. But one of the very first things that I did was I unschooled myself. How do I keep my kids entertained from 9 to 3? And now again, it's going to be different for every single person, whatever you've decided as a mom. Trust that intuition. But if you guys don't feel good about it, just keep praying for something else. Okay. And again, whatever program, whether you decide to do all the curriculum yourself, order all the books online, choose a homeschool program where they send you all the stuff, or if you choose virtual, or if you choose to send your kid to school, and you have to have some of those virtual days too. Like, I want you guys to be, and just to know that you're going to make it. We're all going to be okay. And it won't be perfect, but we're going to get through it. So I had to basically tell myself that my kids don't need to be in school from 8 to 3 or from, this to this time or 6 days a week or 5 days a week. They actually don't even have to be in school 3 days a week. I want my kids to learn and be the best versions of themselves. And I think that we would all agree that I want my kids to grow up and know that they're smart, they're capable, they say thank you and please, and they have freaking manners and they respect adults. If my kid turns 18 and they know some of that stuff, then I'm winning. Okay. And not everyone is like that. And yes, I want my kids to get a good education, but I think the best education is the one that they love. And so again, whatever you've decided will be perfect, and it's not too late to change that decision, but I just ask that you guys really feel good about it. And I know some of you guys are like, no, I don't feel good about it. We're moms and dads, if they're on there watching this, you have that gut intuition, trust it. Okay. And you don't have to have everything figured out. And so when I learned that, we decided to do our own thing. And so for us, we decided that they would do homeroom every single day, and they would learn 2 subjects a day. Our kids are done by 10:30 in the morning. We get to eat breakfast with them, we get to eat lunch with them, and we get to eat dinner with them. And they do electronics on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. That means iPods, iPads, their games, whatever. So this is just what works for us, and you guys are going to figure it out what works for you. Sometimes we've met a couple other families where they have their kids at night because in the morning they're grouchy. And so they start school at noon to 3 or 3 to 6 or, noon to 7, however long that you need. You get to make that work for you. And so they do homeroom every day, and then they do, like I said, 2 subjects. As long as they get through each of the subjects through the week, then I don't mind. And then they can study what they like to study anytime. So sometimes they'll do YouTube. Sometimes they'll do, there's so many Netflix, cool things on Netflix with Bear Grylls for science and chemistry or National Geographic. And that's all learning. My kids are so smart with knowledge that I'm like, I was never taught these things. And so they're learning when they're baking. They're learning when they're outside. Their world is their classroom. And I really want to emphasize, you guys, that if it's overwhelming for you, how do you think they feel? And I didn't want that. And that's how it was the first little bit. I was like, what did I get myself into? I can't keep them entertained from 9 to 3. I have to work. Like, what is going on? So that's when we're going to dive into how do you do this? Okay. Can I actually just find out if you're homeschooling, virtual homeschool, school through home, whatever, if you're doing at home and kids, drop it in the chat. And then if you're sending your kids to school, this is obviously still helpful for you because there's going to come times when your kids are home and they're sick. And how do you still regardless work the business? Wow. Distance learning until further notice, virtual, homeschool, homeschool, homeschool. You know what's crazy? God knew this day was going to come because 2 years ago, I didn't want to say yes. And I truly, truly, truly to this day, am like, I still suck. I'm not a good mom. I don't know if my kids know all the things or know how to spell, but they're going to figure it out. And I think that there's so much stigma on and this is just my experience, on what we have to know and how perfect we have to be. And I'm just so grateful that I did say yes to something that was completely foreign to me. We're going on our 3rd year, and it's just truly, truly, truly incredible, and it's fun, okay? So when you guys have kids at home, they're going to start, most of them, and obviously, again, this is going to vary, but most of them are going to start in the morning. And so I'm going to recommend a couple tools for you. This is where you guys, like, I wish I could go into detail, but I'm going to save it for a different day. We have such a special calling and a gift right now, and so many people that need to see that you can do it and that your kids want to know, Mom, you can have it all. And I would recommend that you guys, and I just wanted to say, you guys are truly, truly, truly blessed to be able to be home, work, and spend time with your kids. It is one thing we will never get back. And to have that opportunity, I know it may seem like complete mayhem right now, but you guys will look back in a year and you'll be like, I'm so thankful. Like, I'm so thankful. Okay. I know it's crazy. I know it's crazy, but everything happens for a reason. Okay. In the morning, a couple tools that I'm going to give you is because I'm like all over the place. I'm so sorry, you guys. There's so many things that I want to touch on, but I have to squeeze them in. When you run a business, you have to be disciplined. When you run a business with kids, you get to be more disciplined. Okay. When you run a business with kids and a spouse, you have to be even more disciplined. And so, sorry, I'm going to mute all, and then I'm going to mute all so it distracts me so bad. Okay. So in the morning, I would recommend waking up. And did anyone have a newborn baby and you were like, okay, my job is to take care of this child 24/7, and I don't make my bed, and I don't change, and I don't shower, but every 3 days. And like, okay, well, that was my life for like 6 years, and I didn't have newborns. So and a lot of us are already back into that habit just from working at home. We don't wake up, we don't get ready, we don't make our bed, we don't get dressed, like we don't show up at 10 every single day. And I'm going to challenge you guys to get your morning under control. I'm not a morning person, I'm a nighttime person. Sister, you better figure it out, because if you weren't, you are now. Okay. And it doesn't need to be that you're waking up at 4 a.m., but it does need to be that we are at least prepared for the day. Okay. So we're going to set an alarm. I know we always rave, I don't have to set an alarm. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. And you're going to set an alarm for about an hour before your kids wake up. And so again, if they're doing virtual school, most of the time those are like they have to be on at a certain time. If they don't, I would highly recommend still having a morning routine with your kids. For us, they wake up, they get breakfast, they get dressed, they brush their teeth, they show up like they're going to school. They only get pajamas on Fridays if they earn it. So again, getting them into good habits as well. So, which means I don't get to show up in my pajamas. I might go from pajamas to leggings for sure. Okay. Or pajamas to a matching sweat set for sure. But I'm going to get changed, because what that does is it breaks your habit of sleeping. So some things that really helped me was obviously wake up before my kids, make your bed, get out of your bed and make it. There's a book called Make Your Bed. If you read it, you will never not make your bed again. Okay. And the second thing that I do is I turn on, for me, it's worship music. Whether you need gangster rap one day to say, okay, mom, we're mom moding it today, then you do that. But you listen to something that's going to uplift you and make you positive and get into that habit of setting the tone. Because if you wake up and all of a sudden your kids spilled cereal everywhere and the Zoom isn't working and your internet's out, you're going to lose it. And who do we take it out on? Those babies. Maybe I'm the only one and you guys can judge me. That's fine. So I know for me, the way I show up in the mornings really truly sets the tone for the family. It sets the tone for the home and it sets the tone for the kids. Now, you guys, they're already stressed. These little brains of theirs, all the things that they have, all the things that they have to keep up with, all of the social media. I mean, so much just things, it's exhausting for them. And so again, how we show up really affects that. Okay. Make your bed, get ready in the morning, change out of those clothes. I don't care if you put sweats on, guys, like I have sweats on right now. Okay. But you want to get changed. I'm telling you, it sounds so simple, and it's because it's so simple. You want to skip it. Don't skip it. All right. Play your music, get your audibles in while you're getting ready, listen to audible books and set that tone. Your kids are going to wake up, have a routine. For us, it was, our kids have made their own breakfast, and sometimes we will make them on Fridays. That we did freebie Fridays for them if they earn it, where they can choose what subjects they want to learn, and they can choose what they want to eat and what they, want to wear pajamas or get dressed or whatever. So usually on Fridays we would make them breakfast, but have simple, you guys. Like this isn't, oh, I have to cook eggs and bacon every single morning. Okay. Like have set days where you are showing up as the Pinterest mom and you are showing up as the grocery store mom. Okay. So give yourself grace with that and give them as much tasks as you can as well within a reward system. So we wrote out a checklist of the kids for them to follow. And then if they, again, did it without being told to, so they swap days for dishes, they swap days for mopping, sweeping, those kind of things, and making their bed as well. And so if they did that every single week with a checklist, then on Friday they would get Freebie Friday. Okay. The other thing that I would highly recommend is giving them some tasks to get them woken up, but also get them into a routine of either gratitude, writing something down, even again, just helping each other out and getting them into a morning routine, and not just saying, I'm going to roll out of bed and I'm going to show up on my Zoom. That's easy to do. And I'm telling you, the more you let that slide and slide and slide, it's going to be really hard to get them back on track. Okay. Make things fun. Give them stickers. We've done stickers before, which sounds so crazy. You guys, I feel like I'm in like 1990 again, but this is what we do that really does work. The kids they just want simple control. That's all. If your kids are acting out, it's because they want control of the situation. Another really good book is called Love and Logics. If you guys haven't read that, it's a great way to learn how to just live with your kids basically. And give them options and choices, and it'll eliminate the fights and the screaming. And I pray that this next year is completely different than what your life was like in February, March, April. And learning these things will help as well. So while my kids are doing their schoolwork, especially if they have a teacher on a Zoom, you guys, that's your time to work. So usually what I do is I wake up, make my bed, get dressed, put my music on, set the tone, and I try and wake up before my kids. Sometimes I don't, but if that's the case, then I have to be extra conscious of just being kind and nice, and sometimes I'm a real big grouch. And so ask grace from them as well. And while my kids are doing their schoolwork, well, before they wake up, I usually get a post up. I try and finish some of my KPI checklist. If you guys aren't doing KPIs and haven't searched the KPI daily task list, please get on it before your school year starts, okay? Or tomorrow, like ASAP, because it'll truly find that discipline in your work, but also play. And so I get up a post that marinates while I clean, do the dishes, make the breakfast, do whatever in the morning, and then they're done by 10:30. Your kids may not be done till 2:30. You just get to say, I'm not sleeping while they're doing schoolwork. I'm not going to scroll Pinterest while they're doing schoolwork. If they're working, I'm working. And you're going to find that once they're done with school, you're not like, oh my gosh, I haven't done anything for my business all day. You have, because you woke up early, you started being the CEO of your business, and you're getting stuff done. So while they work, we work. Usually we have Zooms, and when they're done at 10:30, 11 o'clock in the morning, then I usually break at noon with them and enjoy lunch with them. Your kids don't need a lot of time. They just need a time. And so find that time with them. If it's important to you, it goes on your calendar. If it's not important to you, don't put it on your calendar. And so we will write in picnic at the park. They'll make their own lunches. They'll measure out, and they'll make their own waffles. That's all learning, right? It's learning, what do I eat? Do I have, the food chart? Did I bring a drink? Did I not bring a drink? Let them learn the lessons and give them, and let them be a part of the daily lives as much as possible. And so then while we do that, we really try to be present with them, and be there while they're, doing lunch. And then I get back to work, and they go, and we also had them make a list of things that they can do outside of electronics. I don't know how you guys are. My kids get psycho if they have too much screen time. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday for an hour and a half is all they get. They can earn movie time on Friday. They can earn, campouts on Fridays, but everything is earned. And that's also teaching them discipline. That's also teaching them work ethic. So those kind of things helped me a lot. And then for dinner, something, you guys, is that your phone, I'm going to recommend, and of course it's your life, do as you wish, put it away. When you're eating as a family, put it away. And if you're disciplined in the KPI checklist, and you're disciplined in the work while your kids are working, so are you, then you should, when your spouse comes home, not be on your phone. I know that's a big one. Okay. And if you do, set that time, clock out, turn your phone on airplane mode so you can be present with your family and your spouse at night. And then once the kids go to bed at 8:30, 9 o'clock, I usually finish what I didn't finish during the day. And then I absolutely 100% will go to bed with my husband. And that will keep a good, healthy marriage. But there's no reason why you need 18 hours to work this business in a day. And definitely not. I have found so much more time with my kids and so much more time in being disciplined, following that KPI checklist and making sure that I get stuff done. I mean, there's 100 different things that we can go from, so many different ways that we can go from and learning. But the main thing is you guys is find those pockets of windows where you can put up a post, let it marinate, respond, put up a post, respond, get back to them, follow up. Remember too, if somebody inboxes you, it's not an emergency. There's a time when you clock in for that. And so we want this business to be duplicatable. And if I'm on my phone 24 hours a day, that's not duplicatable. That's not inspiring or attractive at all either, okay? And so there's often times where if I'm doing the KPIs, I should have times where I'm disciplined in posting, disciplined in messaging, and disciplined in follow-up. And so if I had 4 people message me this morning and I haven't had the time is not on my calendar to respond to that yet. They're sitting in there since 9 o'clock this morning. That is okay. They're not going to be gone if I respond in 30 minutes. They're going to still be there. But I think so often, and another tip, turn your phone on silent. Turn it off. My phone's been on silent for 4 years. And it was the best thing I ever did. We naturally look at our phone every 4 minutes or less. You're not going to miss something. You'll be just fine. But as it dings, if it vibrates, if your flashlight goes on, your brain is addicted to that. And so that's causes so much anxiety to say, I have to respond. And hold on, kids. Oh my gosh, I'm so overwhelmed. Well, yeah, because you chose that. You're 100% in control of your day and in control of your discipline. It's just you haven't decided that that's not important enough for you to turn off. Okay? Let me see. Do you guys have any questions or conversations or feedback or like, what do you do in this situation? There's no stupid questions. I'm going to let you guys unmute yourself if you would like, and we can have that conversation. Anyone so scared?
I would.
Keisha, what's up, girlfriend?
Everything's going good. I am kind of freaking out, actually. I've chose to go the My Tech High route, and I've got the schedule approved.
Oh my gosh,
so
you're gonna love it.
Everything starts on the 18th, but I'm also 3 weeks away from having this baby. And so I'm really kind of nervous about feedings every 2 hours, changing diapers, and this being my son's first year homeschooling, and the types of, I don't know, I guess transitions that he's going to go through. How do I stay present in that? You know what I mean? With the crying baby in my hands as well.
I'm going to pray that your baby's an angel and a saint. But one thing about
I feel I'm permanently going to be walking around with a sling on me. I'm just going to
hey, this is what I love is that there's no rules.
Yeah.
Especially with My Tech High, obviously that's the program I use. It's in Utah, Idaho, Arkansas, and Tennessee. The only thing that's required with them is 2 sentences per subject per week. If they didn't do, and I don't know what you're doing, and obviously we can have an outside conversation with this, but if you're choosing a custom class or a third-party class, or are you doing all My Tech High curriculum?
All the My Tech Direct.
It's so easy. All you have to do, the hardest part is getting started with their logins, all that jazz, but once they have their logins, teach them, give them the responsibility of it. You guys, the kids love to be adults, right? They talk to us like adults, surely, right? So give them the responsibility of that. And then I simply buy a notebook and they just write what they learned in that class. And same thing, there's going to be days when they're done and days that they don't have to do it and they can catch up. But the hardest part is getting all those logins. I mean, the technical side of it for me is where I was struggling the most. But once you get everything saved, you'll be fine. And then be okay if you are doing your baby stuff and he's sitting there, like, give them something to do, and take them to the park. If you're like, okay, we're done with this, we're gonna go do science at the park. We're gonna go, go to the museums. Like last year we got passes to the zoo and to the, National Museum and the Curiosity Museum or whatever. And they use that. But
is there like a homeschooling book that you recommend, like your first year of homeschooling or something?
I didn't read anything, but I also find that if the more I study and the more I look at what everyone else is doing, it makes me feel like poop.
Yeah, I've been on YouTube, I've been on groups, I've been like all over the place. Like, how do I like prepare myself for all of this? And it's just giving me a ton of anxiety, and I'm like feeling really overwhelmed with the whole situation.
I didn't do it. I didn't do it because I knew that they're not like me. They don't know my kids. They don't know my schedule. And I just wanted to know that what I did was enough. And so for me, I wouldn't recommend doing a ton of research. I would recommend picking it, finding your own, talking with your kids, seeing what they want to do. So for instance, right now we're doing spelling tests with our kids. And I said, if you guys can pass off first grade, I'll give you $1. So I just Googled first grade spelling list. I don't know where I even found it. And then they get $1 when they can pass off all of them and spell them. If they go to second grade, they get this. And they're staying up till 10:30 at night studying these stupid spelling words that I don't even know how to spell from second grade. Like, I'm like, I have Google. I don't know. So make it fun for them, or a coin jar. I mean, I would Google more of that stuff, of a reward system, than I would have, how do I become the best parent that homeschools and we have it all together? Like, absolutely not. I would fail.
Okay.
And then that's what and most homeschool programs will teach you: unschool. Your kids don't need to be in school from 9 to 3. Imagine if your teacher only had one kid to teach. They'd be done in 2.5 hours, but they don't. They have 30 kids that they have to teach, and they need 14 recesses in between, and then they have to eat all the meals and all the other things. And so it takes all day. Homeschool isn't like that. It should not be taking you all day.
Okay.
And just give yourself grace, you guys. Please give yourself grace and just be like, we actually didn't even do a school today. Tomorrow was a new day. We'll figure it out. Yeah, you will love it. I'm really excited for you.
Me too. Okay, I'm done.
I love it.
Hey, Amber, I have a question, and I've seen a few in the comments, but what if you have children that need or has an IEP?
I'm so sorry. You broke up on that last part. What if you have children that what?
That have an IEP, individual education plan?
My daughter does. And our school district still does that. It's just virtual. So, but they only meet once a week and online. And so your public school should still keep up with those resources, and they'll just meet up on Zoom is what ours does, at least. And so it's like on Thursdays at 1 o'clock, but same, if I'm like, hey, I can't make it today, they reschedule, and they're very flexible with it. And so they should be, but same, I try, and hers is reading, obviously, but which is so crazy because she writes books. But she doesn't know how to spell. And so that's when I was like, okay, I've got to do something, but it's got to be their idea, but I want to reward them, because the last thing I want my child to do is to not know something and somebody be like, how do you not know that? Right? And how do you not know how to spell thou or through or there, And so, but I also don't want her to be like, hey, mom is like on me on spelling. And so they're going to figure it out. But with the IEPs, your school district should still be able to do those with you. And sometimes they even did them in person. So we had that option as well, if we wanted to go in and sit down with them as well. But most of the time it was just her and the teacher. I wasn't there, and I let the teacher handle it.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, well, hi, I'm Violet, and I'm from West Covina, California. And
Hello.
I am a school security guard. So for me, it hit home because I became a stay-at-home moms. So all those moms out there, let me tell you, I salute you and everything. And I became a teacher not knowing my daughter just is gonna go to the 8th grade. The other one's gonna be a 5th grader, and the other one's gonna be a 3rd grader. My 5th grader, I could really comment on the lady that said about the IEPs. My daughter's an RSP, and reach out to them for the RSP teachers and everything. So you know what, school starts this. I already reached out to my daughter's RSP teacher and everything that helps her out, because you know what, she's in 5th grade. You know her weakness. Let's help her out. I don't want her to have a struggle. Come on, let's do this and
Mm-hmm.
everything. Then on my 8th grader now, in her last year in middle school and everything, I told her, now it's your turn to do all the things that you need to do. Reach out to the teachers if you don't know anything, because let me tell you, when all this happened, to top it all off, I have diabetes, type 2. And I've noticed since March until now, my body has totally changed, and it's like kind of scary. At one point, my tongue and my lips were getting numb. My husband said, Google. I'm like, I'm not gonna Google. Google is not a doctor. So me being freaking out, I Googled, I started reading, and once I got to this one word, I really said, you know what? No. When I came to the word stroke, I went more in a panic zone. I felt my lips like I had ate habanero chili in my lips. I felt my lips like this. I called Kaiser and I let them know, hey, this is going on, da 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 da. Because okay, they said it could be two things, either stress or you ate something, you know. And I go,
Yeah.
no, it's not the eating part. I know me. It's
Yep.
the stress that's killing me. So, okay, well, try to get your diabetes doctor. I couldn't get my diabetes doctor. Finally, tomorrow I'm gonna go see a new diabetes doctor, and I'm gonna let her know what's going on, because it is scary.
Yes.
You know, I'm 45. I'm not no spring chicken anymore. You know what I mean?
So I'm
And
not.
from
And I
working
still am.
married, yeah. And it's like right now, my best product right now is Confianza. I've been ordering those like there were pancakes
I
since
love it.
March, and it's really, really happy. Okay, kumbaya, I'm good and everything. And I told the girls, I do not want to stress. I do not know, because if I
Just
get
not
sick, who's
that.
gonna take care of you guys? You know what I mean?
Yep.
And for
Totally.
me, let me tell you, uh, the saddest thing is that I don't have support from my husband. What I do, he's always on the negative side and everything. So, but that does not let me say, no. He gives me more like, oh, at the beginning, when he tells me stuff, I'm like, but then you know what?
Yeah.
No, this is me. This is my income right now, buddy. You
Yeah.
think all the stuff that I've been doing is like my work check? I kind of like put that to a side and everything, because you don't know, I have another account that all my money for it works goes there. So right now, that's been my spending money, my pay bills money, because the other one, I'm like, oh, I'm not going to touch that. So
Yeah.
I'm just saying, I know we could do it. I know it's hard. I know we could feel each other what's going through and stuff. And I know we could do it. I know we can. And everything. And the one that's having a baby, congratulations. And everything. Sometimes I get the baby fever at times, but I kind of know more. I
Love
tie
it.
my tubes.
Yeah.
But
Thank
I
you
just wanted to
so
say
much,
hello,
Violet.
and I know we could do it.
Yes, thank you so much. Okay, you guys, I have a question. It says, what if you have kids that still come into the bed in the middle of the night and my daughter gets up if I move, so I literally can't get up? They're 5 and 3. Remember how I said everything happens for a reason? There's no judgment if your kids come into the bed with you, but I'm going to ask, if you're married, it's not the smartest thing for you to do. And I'll tell you why. Okay. Josh and I have been happily married for 14 years. And we work together, we live together. And by the way, we live in a 440-foot RV because we sold our house to travel full-time with the kids, because we can, because they homeschool. And I will tell you that if you research marriages that get divorced, more than likely those kids, if you ask the parents, those kids have slept with them longer than a toddler. It's all about habits, you guys. They just want to be in control. And so if that is the case, obviously it's your decision. If you want your kids to sleep with you until they're 10, then go, sister, go. But again, why I say everything happens for a reason is I would reward them for not. They can have my cuddles when I wake up in the morning. You're going to be a better mom. You're going to be a better wife. You're going to have more intimacy with your husband, and your kids are going to appreciate you versus take control over you. Josh and I marriage is very, very, very important to us, and it is hard as it is, right? Relationships are hard. Being a mom is freaking hard. And why do I want to add to that? And so everything happens for a reason. Maybe it's time that you say, you know what, this year you've got a big kid bed. If you can stay in your bed, this is what you get. What do you want? Don't make it your idea, but make it their idea. And so I would definitely start that process. They're old enough, at that point to not, I wouldn't say not need you, because they do need you. That's not the words that I'm looking for, but they're old enough to wake up and give them that responsibility. Like, be willing to let a 5-year-old make his own cereal and make a mess. To me, I'd rather have that than not have my sanity in the morning. And maybe you wouldn't. Maybe you're like, oh gosh, no, I don't want milk all over my floor. Fine, right? Find something else. But if you can start giving them that responsibility and talk about how awesome they are and how big they are and how grateful I am that I get to wake up on my own, all of those kinds of things, that'll help you a ton. Okay. What is the name of the program that I use? It is called My Tech High. It is only in Utah, Idaho, Arkansas, and Tennessee, but every state has their own online homeschool program outside of public school home. So every state should have their, it's basically like K through 12 online homeschool program. You can also find Christian programs that are, online. There's lots of different options that you guys can use as well. Okay. Okay, do you suggest carrying them back to bed if they come in the night? I do. And then you start a punishment program. Like, if you guys, it's a pro and a con, right? And I am not the perfect parent, but I will tell you my kids are dang respectful. And you will not catch them talking back to me, or they get an eyebrow and they know better. And it's because they know I'm not kidding. If I say go sit in timeout, you're sitting in timeout and I'm not playing. And I know that that's hard, right? Because we're like, oh, but they're so cute and I just want to cuddle them and oh, I'm sorry and I don't want to be bad mom. No, sister. Put them back. Don't say, and Love and Logic talks about this a lot. And it talks about putting the kids back in bed and not saying anything, or putting them back in timeout, or, giving them that option to, I don't explain to you and I'm not yelling at you. I don't talk to you and I put it right back. And so Love and Logic's really helped me. Excuse me, son. Quiet, please. Seriously, these kids, man. But yes, I personally would recommend putting them back in bed. And I know that it is hard and it takes time. I was helping another one of my mom friends a couple years ago, and she's like, no, our kid's 7 and he literally sleeps in our bed. And I was like, how's your relationship? I'm just curious. She's like, it's to crap. I'm like, well, duh. Because you need that time alone. And so she made a bed, she redid his room and like made it exciting and fun, and basically said, like, you don't get X if you do this. Like, this, you're a big kid now, you're responsible, you're sleeping in your bed. But again, these are just habits that are formed, either or behavior that we've accepted or we've created. And so how do you break those habits? It takes time, you guys. And it's more exhausting. It's the same thing. Like, it's more exhausting putting my kid in timeout than just cleaning it up. Like, I have to hear them scream. Are you kidding me? But they're not learning as well. So again, I'm not the perfect parent. I would not probably take parenting advice from me, but there's some things that I just kind of make me go, okay, tighten up, mom, right? Like, and I'm talking to myself, but I would recommend putting them back to bed. Okay.
So Amber, I do have a question.
Yeah.
So my son's 3, and it looks like a lot of people were asking too, because they all have, there's quite a few of us that have toddlers. So what would you recommend? I mean, I'm doing like setting alarms with my Alexa so that he hears like that it's nap time, and I just feel like nap time is starting to not exist anymore, which is when I had my chance to work. So
So
there,
quiet time. I have a triple on my team. She's almost pres. She has 2 kids, and her kids are so cute. They're very high energy, and so she does quiet time every single day for an hour and a half, and more than likely they fall asleep. And the rules are, it's quiet time. Like, we're so excited for quiet time. These are the things that you can do. You come out of the room and quiet time starts over. And you have to be disciplined on starting over. If what you say, you have to follow up with. See, had to tell my kids, knock it off, right? So quiet time is still absolutely a thing. Oftentimes, if I find my kids kind of button heads, I'm like, okay, go, both of you, away from each other, quiet time, read books, go do something. And I don't tell them what to do. They're old enough to figure it out. And part of that whole parenting process is saying, what can you do? I want you to come up with a solution. And of course, 3 years old is just different, but rewarding them. It's quiet time and then it's snack time. You don't get snacks before, but oftentimes as parents, we're like, eat whatever you want, have whatever, like there's got to be some structure. And so it's the reward system. Same thing, our kids only get treats on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, if they earn them. You guys are probably like, this girl is a brat and her poor kids, like she is strict. But I do the best I can, you guys. And sometimes, and again, I'm like, if their behavior is fine on a Tuesday, I don't mind. But the rule is Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And even oftentimes too, you guys, for as far as like, if let's say they don't finish their homework or they don't want to do it or they're whining or they're crying, okay, what do you think is going to happen now? What's your consequence? And they'll usually be like, no electronics for a month. I'm like, fine by me. Okay. Let them choose their discipline, and then they can't blame you. Like, it's their behavior, it's their consequence. They chose it. So, but it's still hard. Parenting is hard, and I'm not perfect at all by any means. I yell at my kids more than I probably should. Okay. Ooh, this is a good question. What do you do for socialization? We live a social life. One thing I loved about homeschooling though too is granted for us, like they were done by 10:30, 11, we eat lunch. At that point it's 12:30. Their friends are home at 3. So all really they have to do is keep them how to figure it out, how to be entertained from 12:30 to 3. And then they go and they play with their friends in the neighborhood and they live their normal life. Also sports, in gymnastics, karate, those kind of things. But I even think now, like, all their friends are going to be home, or church or activities or summer camps. Also, most homeschool programs, you'll find a local community where they meet up. They do their own field trips. They, do their own baking classes. The moms do coffee in the morning while the kids play at the park. There's lots of different communities and things for socializing. Our kids are very, very, very social. And it's just because we put them in situations where they can be. And that means I don't get to stay home all day. That means we would go to the mall and play at like the playgrounds and stuff, and we'd meet. I'm like, why is there another 10-year-old kid walking around here on a Tuesday at 10 p.m. or at noon, right? And it was because they were homeschooled too. And so we've been able to really find when you're out and about, the community is actually really there. Okay, we decided to do 100% virtual. We've been strict quarantine with an autoimmune compromised kid at home. I think the same thing, like I said, if they have friends at school or they were in school, it's pretty much the same concept. Okay. Ooh, love and logics, yes. Yep. And another thing too, so like our son, for as far as sleeping goes, he has music and my daughter has a nightlight. And so they both have minky blankets. And so have them pick out what they want their room to look like or what's their comfort. And maybe everyone's different. And I would highly recommend putting your kids to bed and having that alone time with them and reassuring them that they are safe. But most of the time, if they do come around or my kids wake up or come into the room, more than likely it's a bad dream. And so we just walk them back, make sure, that they're safe, obviously normal parenting things, but everyone's going to be a little bit different. Okay. And nothing, and neither right or wrong, you guys. Like, I have friends that are like, no, my kid literally sleeps on the floor and he's 10. I'm like, cool. Is it working for you? There's no right or wrong way to be a mom or to homeschool. Is something working, meaning you enjoy it, or is it not working, meaning you don't freaking enjoy it? Are you producing the results that you want in your family, or are you not producing the results you want in your family? Is your marriage strong, or is it not strong? No right or wrong way. You have to decide, this works for me right now, and it may not work for her. And it may work during a season, and it may not work next season. And so you get to decide and do that. Yep. Quiet time. I love that. Okay.
Hey, Amber, I have a question if that's okay.
Yeah, Lindsay, what's up?
So we're basically in a situation where I live in Canada and our province has said it's like 100% back to school in class, starting in September. And we're just like, no. So now we're trying to decide between like fully homeschool or like the distance learning where the homeschool organization has like a teacher that teaches the classes and sets up the program. Do you have any tips on how to decide between those?
Pray about it. And if you guys don't have a strong faith, write all the pros and the cons down and then just make the decision. But I will tell you this, once you make the decision, don't look back. Whether you make the decision to send your kid to school, don't consider homeschool. Like, you have to be 100% clear in your decision, and you may not until the decision is made. Usually we're not, right? Usually if I'm deciding between two cars, I'm like, oh, I'm trying to decide if I like this one or that one, until you make the decision, then you don't go look at the other car, right? And so for me, one thing that I know is if I go and ask everyone their opinion, they're going to give it to me, and they're going to tell me I'm bad, sick, and wrong for this, and some are going to tell me I'm the best mom in the world for doing this. And so I would suggest, if you don't want to send your kid to school because of X, Y, or Z, then find what's going to work for them. You guys, worst case scenario in a year, yeah, you send them back to public school. I already know what that's like. Like, if I don't like homeschool next year, I can send them back. But what if I don't? Like, and that was my whole thing. I'm like, I already know what this is like. Let's try something else on. And now I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know that I would ever send my kids back to school. The amount of freedom that we have, that we get to spend that time with these kids. And I feel like now more than ever, our kids need us. They need our influence. They need our love. They need our discipline. They need our respect, not 57 other kids that are coming from 87 million families.
Absolutely. Our kids actually chose, we asked them, we said, like, do you feel comfortable going back to school? Like, what are you thinking? What are you comfortable with? And they both said, we'd rather just you stay at home. My daughter is almost 13 and she's like yours. She loves to draw. That's all she wants to do. And she said, ever since school closed, basically, like since quarantine hit and stuff, she's like, I've had so much time to work on my art. My art's gotten so much better. She said, I would rather just stay home and learn. And we were just like, wait, what? Because it wasn't what we were expecting.
And I think your kids know best. They know, like, and same thing with sports, right? They're like, Mom, I don't like it. I'm like, okay, you're going to finish it. But if you don't want to do it next year, then that's fine. And you guys, our kids will teach us. Our kids will teach us what they need to learn and what, there's some really cool animation classes that you can get for my daughter. She is like literally creating movies and slides, and she has like 8,000 pages of slides of a rabbit jumping to go get a mouse or something. Like, there's so many cool artistic programs. And that expands their brain in such a way and gives them confidence. And I feel like more than ever, this next generation, you guys, they lack the confidence. The negative self-talk that I hear most teenagers, it makes me extremely sad. And I feel like so many kids lack the confidence. And if, as a mom, I can sit here and say, your work is the best, versus a kid at school saying, oh, that's crap, right? Like, I know the influence. I know on one hand where it came from if they learned a behavior. I love that they get to focus on their strengths and not their weaknesses. Sure, they get to work through their weaknesses, but just once you make the decision, you guys just don't look back. And again, either way, whether you choose to send your kids to school, public school is great, charter school, Catholic school, whatever is awesome. And there is a definite place for that. And I'm so glad my kids did that. I'm so glad I went to public school. But I think in this season, I'm extremely grateful that I have the option to be able to work from home. And I know the other alternatives, go back to a job, and I don't want to do that. And the other alternative is go get 2 jobs and send my kids back to school, and I don't want to do that either. And so we get to pick our heart and get disciplined and where we want.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. I wish I had more of a definite answer, but you guys, for me, it was just once I made the decision, I was like, you know what? I like it. I'm here for
And
it.
I love that. Too often we question ourselves and we second guess our choices, and then we end up like going down a different path that wasn't the right one.
Mm-hmm. And you guys, our kids aren't going to, they forget what they learned last year. And guess what? The teachers catch them up. Let's say worst case scenario, you take your kids home and they don't learn and they're not up to par of what level they're supposed to be at in math or reading. They're going to get caught up. Like they're going to know and be able to expand where they want. Yeah. And Sarah says, just make sure, even if it isn't required by school, homeschool law in your state, register your children as homeschoolers just to cover you. Yeah. And Utah actually has no school. You don't even have to put your kids in school at all. Most states have a law, but again, most of it is pass or fail. They either completed the school year or they didn't, but definitely look into each state for sure. From somebody who has no children, how can we help our team members who do have children better with these sorts of issues? Send them this Zoom. You guys, I truly, we could go case by case, situation by situation, and ultimately we have to remember that we made these kids. Okay, and we're here to give them the best thing that they could, and if we didn't make them ourselves, they were handed to our hands by God, and we are in charge. And you do the best that you can with what you have, and you hope that it's the best. Yeah. Okay, any other question? Oh, this one's good. Do you feel they learn just as much at home as they do in school? Bunting against as the parent teaching it all. You know, I feel like my kids learn differently. To answer that question, do they learn more at home, more differently? Like the other day, we were watching. I was some kind of bug. I think it was a scorpion. We were at a museum, and my son, Avea bought one of those scorpions inside the little clear things like the suckers, you know. And she goes, I can't find its eyes. And I said, do scorpions have eyes? Like, what are the chances? And my little 9-year-old son said, no, they have hair that they use to feel around to see with. I'm like, I didn't freaking know that. Where'd you learn that? Like they learn and they like what they're interested in. And so they learn differently. What are you going to say, baby?
I don't know.
I knew Josh is pacing back and forth. And usually when he paces back and forth, he hears me talking on these Zooms and he always wants to kind of say something.
Hey, what's up, guys? So here's the main difference, and this might be very difficult. One of the very difficult parts of the transition from regular school to homeschool. I know it was for me personally, but so a normal school, you have a curriculum, you have a path laid out, and you follow A, B, C, D, E, F, G all the way through first grade. And in second grade, you pick up right where you left off in first grade, hopefully, in theory. And you pick up right there, and then you learn A, B, C, D, F, G all the way through second grade, right? And it just keeps going to second grade, to third grade, to fourth grade. In homeschool, it's different. I mean, you're still building on concepts and things that you learned the grade before, right? Math concepts, or you have first grade concepts, second grade concepts, third grade concepts, and you're going a little bit in order. But everything else is really completely different. Everything builds upon itself, but it might not be A, B, C, D, E, F, G all the way down to Z. It might be twice as much A. I mean, you may not hit on B, and you might get twice as or triple as much C. And so I think that they learn a lot. If I had to say, I would say that they learn more.
Mm-hmm.
But like Amber said, it is different. It's not as structured and check this box, check that box, check this box, check that box type
Memorize
of thing.
this, pass the test on that.
Yeah.
Kind of a deal. It's just different.
That's all I was going to say. It's awesome. We love it.
Oh, I just love seeing my kids be happier and that they learn what they want to learn instead of what is on the checklist to say your kid is here or there. Go for it.
One more thing. So people have all sorts of different opinions about school, and most of the time we don't think about options because public school is the option, and you know that's the main option, and almost like 98% of people just do public school because that's the best option. And so now that you have options, you know, I feel like and this is just my opinion, you may not agree with me, but I feel like the things that our kids are learning now in the subjects that we are putting them in, that we are choosing and allowing them to choose, are more applicable to real life skills and things that will help them be better people, better attributes to their family, better attributes to a company, to a business that they decide to run or whatever. And that to me is more important than checking all the boxes. You know, we were part of a great public school.
Yeah,
the public
same.
school that our kids were in was awesome, highly rated, teachers were great,
So great.
most people were nice. I don't have anything against public school, but I feel like some public schools, or a lot of public schools, because they have to appeal to such a massive group of people, they have to make everything so broad and generalized that everyone's learning the same types of things, which is okay. But you as a parent, just like Amber's been telling you on a lot of this Zoom, you know your kids, you know their talents, what they're good at, what they're not good at, what their dreams may be, you know, the things that they may want to do in real life. And no one, no matter how good a teacher is, or how much a teacher cares, or how passionate a teacher is, that teacher isn't going to care as much about your child and their development and the way that they learn and the things that they want to learn like you do. And so I think that's a huge advantage that we have spending this extra time with our children, is we do care about them more. We do know them better. We have an opportunity to help them, you know, develop and thrive in the talents and attributes that they have and the dreams that they're wanting to chase, as well as help them, you know, navigate the tough stuff, the stuff that they're not as good at, that they don't care about as much. We were able to navigate through those things as well. And so, I think that was it.
Thanks. Oh, you guys, I wish it was easier, but I think ultimately, you know, oh, this is a good question. How does this transition over to college? That's obviously going to vary. I had a high school degree and I never went to college. I have people who went to college and never used their degrees. And so I think that, I know for our homeschool program, they can actually enroll at 16 and they can pass and graduate. And then their college program now is actually pass or fail. So they don't have to, if they know this college class already, they don't have to sit through college through the semester. They pay a lesser amount. And it's crazy, you guys, the amount of options out there. It's just most people don't even know, but the college is accredited and they can get their, you know, associate's degree. If they know algebra 2, they can just pass that and they pay a less amount and they still get the credit for it. So, I mean, there's plenty of options. And again, I think it's a year. And I think that if you just do the homeschool this year, if that's your choice, then you can decide to put them back in school. Or, I mean, you know, and even one of our friends was like, well, this program doesn't give you a diploma, but it gives you a certificate of completion. And, you know, she's like, well, you're in 3rd grade. Like, and her son was like, Mom, why are you concerned about a diploma? I'm in 3rd grade. Like, I can go to school at 12th grade and pass 12th grade and get a diploma. Like, and she's like, true. That's so true. Like, yeah, let's just do it. We'll figure it out later. And it's not a huge deal. How many people have gone to college without a diploma? You know, or obviously you do still have one, but, you know, so I think all my main focus is too is trying to just be right now. Let's see what we can do. And you'll be shocked. Like, our daughter at 11 years old learned intro to business, learned financial literacy, 12 years old. She knows marketing. She knows advertising. She has a bank account. She knows interest, like things that I didn't learn until after school, but just really cool programs and different things that you guys can do. Okay, so this is a good question. I'm worried I cannot help my kids with an area like math and struggle to learn it. Me too. There's Google. There's free classes. Like, they'll figure it out. And here's the deal. I took 12 years of public school and I still use a calculator. So I'm going to give them a little bit of grace when they don't know it to a T, or I'm going to reward them instead of, you know, saying, oh, you're in 4th grade and you only know a 2nd grade math level. That's okay. They probably are at 7th grade reading. right? Or kindness. Let's talk about that, right? So I think give yourself grace and just understand that, like, if I don't know it, I just tell my kids, I don't know this. You're going to have to either skip it or wait till dad gets home, or we're going to Google and we're going to figure it out together. So don't feel like you have to know everything. How do you homeschool a kid who needs strict structure of a classroom? And in my opinion, I feel like if a kid needs a strict schedule of a classroom, more than likely you can make it way more fun at home and still have the structure of a classroom. Okay. I didn't think I was smart enough. Girl, I'm not smart either. Don't even lie. Let me not lie to you. I am, like I said, I am not book smart. I don't know dates. I don't know history. I don't know. If you were to quiz me on national parks, couldn't tell you. If you were to quiz me on how many states there are and if Alaska is considered the US, like those are things truly genuinely, like I'm not just messing around. Like those are things that I learned after I was an adult. And more than likely I learned that crap from my kids. And some people are very book smart. I'm not. I'm just simply not. I'm street smart. I'm business smart. But that came from the streets, you know, and me outside learning. Let's see. Yeah, YouTube can teach them. You guys, there's so many programs. There's so many videos. There's so many TV shows. And so, I mean, or Amazon, like there's so much out there that if you feel like you're falling short in one, we did book math for our kids as extra, and they earn points towards rewards. So same concept as the schools do. And so yeah, that's kind of what we do. Avea, yeah, come here for a second. You guys, I want you guys to hear from my kids. She just got braces and she has all these mouth guard pieces, and so she talks a little funny. Can you say hi to my friends?
Hi.
What do you love most about homeschool?
That I get to hang out with my family.
And what was it scary leaving your friends, or do you get to spend time with your friends?
I get to spend time with them still.
And how do you feel like you are with socializing with strangers? Do you make new friends as strangers, or do you not?
I do.
Cool. Would you recommend that other people homeschool?
Mm-hmm. I think it's awesome. Way better than I did the school.
What about you, Cannon Boy? Are you shy? Like he's all bashful. Cannon Boy, come here for a second. Cannon. Cannon Joshua. Thank you. Guys, these are my two little kids. Come here. Come here. Can you say hi to my friends?
Hi.
What do you like about homeschool? Spending time with your sister?
Yeah.
Yeah. And do you miss public school?
Not really.
And what was your favorite class you've taken so far in homeschool?
Math.
Math. You are your father's son. But what about Lego robotics? Did you learn engineering and coding through Legos? Yeah, that was fun, huh? And sis, what was your favorite class?
Drawing animation.
Animation. Yeah. Cool. Love you guys.
Love you.
Bye. Oh, you guys, my kids are funny. Cannon gets really shy. He's very tender. But it is so much fun. And I think that your kids are going to know that you are the best teacher. And it is really extremely fun for me. I feel like I am more rewarded as a mom knowing that we get to say yes. We get to say yes to them. We get to eat breakfast with them. We get to eat lunch with them. And we get to teach them along the way. And so I just say whatever your decision, whether you guys choose public school, give yourself grace and trust the process. And but just know and be aware that if your kids are struggling, there's probably a reason for it. And so you know them best, you can handle them best, and find those nooks and crannies of your day where you're disciplined, and tell your kids, mommy's going to work for another 30 minutes. As soon as I'm done, we'll go to the park then. Mommy's going to work because this is what I get to do. And we're going to do this then at this point. Or when would you like mom to go play soccer with you? Okay, can I finish this? And then we'll go play soccer. So having that line of communication open, you guys, is so important. I could go on and on for hours about just different things that we've learned, or you just do the best you can. But I will say, if you're going to bring them home, unschool yourself and know that it's not going to look anything like how it did when you went to school. And that is okay. So again, just for reference and liability, I am not telling you to homeschool your kid or take them to school. This is a personal decision that you will make. What I want to tell you is that you can't have it all. And you can absolutely be the best parent to those babies and be a business owner, a rockin' business owner, and have it all. And the more that you are faithful in your friends and your family, the finances and the freedom will come as well. So I hope this helps you guys. This will be our 3rd year homeschooling, and we're really, really, really excited for this year, especially where we're traveling across the country. So you're welcome. Anyone feel a little bit lighter? Did this help you a little bit? I hope that you guys get excited. And again, whether you decide to take your kids to school, we still do first day school pictures and backpacks and school shopping and like experience all that with them as well. But we just get to do a little bit more, and they get to have ice cream instead of chocolate milk in a carton from school, you know? So you'll find different things that they get to do and have, and it's just really freaking fun, really fun. And these moments you can't get back. You just can't. So I hope this helps you guys. Can I get some takeaways? What did you guys learn? What did you love? What hit you? What hit home from you? Anyone want to share your aha moments? Or I saw a couple people taking notes.
I have some ahas.
Yeah,
Amber.
girlfriend. I'm so thankful for you.
So I'm somebody that's a single mom of 2.
Can't hear you, sister.
Oh, let me go back.
Go back in, sis. Go back in. I want to hear from you, but I can't hear you.
So, okay, you can hear in this room.
Yes,
So
yes.
I'm a single mom of 2 that's 9 and 15, and experiencing this first year of just a lot, from having half the year being virtual like it was, and him being first year high school was extremely hard. Not knowing all of them, you know, in high school you got 8 teachers, so it's a little bit different. But it caused a ton of anxiety. Between that, my youngest son got diagnosed with high functioning autism, so I was going through that with him, and he had a ton of what is it called, outbursts every day through anger. So he experienced a ton of anger. So I was already trying to do homeschooling, and it was very simple. And I just really needed to just make that decision and really do it. But I felt it was easy, and I still pay for it. So I'm just excited to do that this year and just be more structured with it, because I was all over the place. I had no structure, just everywhere. My dad has dementia, which means I've had episodes with him leaving the house and police having to find him for me. So it's like a ton of structure I have to put in place. And it's going to start with me going to bed like I'm supposed to, which thanks to the sleepy tea, I can fall asleep.
Yes.
And then waking up early enough and doing small things like getting dressed, making my bed, that stuff you just said. Because I am that person that get dressed from the top half, and the bottom half I got pajamas on. So that's so that's me. So I'm half dressed, but everybody don't know that. They think I'm fully dressed. Yeah. So my takeaway was doing some me stuff, like falling asleep like I'm supposed to. I have them on schedule. Everyone here is asleep. They're asleep by 9 Eastern. So they're asleep. I keep them on that schedule even if it's no school. Everybody's asleep. But I just have to do it for me too. So I have to make sure I'm doing me at the same point, and that will help out with a little bit of structure. So making my bed, getting dressed is my takeaway. Doing some me stuff to actually get my day started right.
We can't pour into those babies if we haven't poured into ourselves. You deserve it.
Uh-huh.
Go ahead, girl.
It goes kind of along the lines of what she had said. My son struggles with like ADHD, hyperactive ADHD, and severe OCD. And so having him home and being able to customize that and be like, okay, like, because the teacher's not going to know that he has those problems, you know what I mean? Or how he deals with them, or how we deal with them at home. She could deal with it completely different than we do, and then he could be like that transition from school to home, I feel like is going to be super confusing for him. And it's like, how does he cope with that? You know what I mean? And then waking up an hour before my kids do. I am severely struggling with this. Pregnant life has got me sleeping constantly. I feel like I spend half my day sleeping, and so I'm going to try my best to wake up an hour early and really make this a thing.
Do it. Even if you give yourself grace, start with 30 minutes. Like just 30 minutes of no phone, no chaos. And most of the time, you guys, my alarm goes off and I close my eyes again and I just talk to God. And I just that's my meditation time. That's where I'm just, I do all my gratitude. And I'm not even out of bed yet. And I've already completed half of my checklist. And so again, it's not that everything, you don't have to show up and run, but you just have to show up. And so, give yourself grace with that as well. I love so many people say, give yourself grace. Yes. You have to unschool your mind and your kids and just trust that what you're doing is enough. And if it looks different on a Tuesday than it did on a Monday, that's okay. And it's not a huge, huge deal.
And I had a really good takeaway. I actually put in, I don't know if y'all can hear me.
I don't know who was talking, darn it. I heard something, but it was in and out.
It's Megan. Okay.
I cannot hear you, sis. Sorry. Do it works for you. I don't need to be the smartest book, the smartest mom, and it makes me feel better. I love that. Darn it. I wanted to hear her takeaway and I can't hear it.
I have a couple takeaways and I hope I can remember it all. So I've been really nervous because we've had a couple officer involved shootings, and with everyone wanting to get licensed and stuff like that, who knows what's going to be happening in these schools. And I feel like my son wanting to go into regular school, that so many people, I hear even the teachers are keeping their own kids home. And so it's who's going to be left? I don't think that he realizes how many people are really going to be there anymore. But I like how you said, your time management, if they're on a Zoom with a teacher, that's when I could be doing my stuff. And also the discipline, I feel like he's on video games too much, but if I make it a discipline, okay, you do this, this, and this. And also because he is on an IEP too, and during this whole COVID thing, they have not even contacted us at all during all the online schooling. And so I was worried about the homeschooling and how do I know where he left off in this and this and this to get him to start right back where he was. So it gives me more insight and, how many lessons you really have to do in a day and how long it really is going to last, especially, not everyone has the opportunity to stay home. Some have to work, and if they're going to try and do this homeschooling, that's what's kind of got me. And my husband's been no, he needs to go to regular school. So it's made me feel a whole lot better. So I appreciate it. I've really enjoyed the Zoom.
Of course. And I'm going to keep praying for all of us that, the rest of this year is going to be the best yet. The best for our family, the best for our finances, the best for our freedom, and the best for our mental health. And I think it's so important that we understand that none of us are perfect. We do the best we can with what we have, and it's going to be good enough. And as long as you can give yourself grace, guys, I'm on the Zoom, that if you guys can give yourself grace and understand that it's going to look different, and your family is going to look different than the family next door, and that's okay. It's supposed to, right? I love you guys so much. I could be here all night talking to you guys, but I hope this helped. I hope you guys feel a little bit lighter, a little bit, just a little bit more as you can breathe, or keep praying on your decision, and just know that this too shall pass, and that we are all well equipped for this. And if you weren't, you wouldn't be here. And so we have a huge calling, And sometimes we don't feel like we're qualified for this, but in the chat, I did put how I prep my week, which also helps me stay disciplined, and KPIs, which is the daily task list. If you guys haven't seen that, that's in there as well. And so watch those, get into that habit of being a CEO and having that self-discipline from yourself. But I hope this helped. Hope this helped you guys. Thank you so much for jumping on and spending the night with me. I know time is money and money is time. And so I appreciate you guys just giving me grace as well and understanding that I'm not perfect. I don't try to be. In fact, I'm very flawed. But I do the best that I can. And I hope that if I can just help 1 or 2 people, then my job is complete, and I'm going to keep praying for you guys. We will see you guys on Wednesday morning for KPIs if you guys want as well on this same exact Zoom ID Wednesday morning at 8 a.m. We'll see you guys.